right, gang, so we're back. I apologize for the issues there. I think Mercury's in retrograde or something. I'm just going to roll with that. But I do have some good news for you, and it's that Michael Saylor has officially declared crypto winter over. And not in a vague, hopeful, maybe we've bottomed kind of way. We're talking in a full-blown Game of Thrones, quote-flipping, ice-melting, bullhorn blasting kind of way. On Bloomberg, he said as long as Bitcoin doesn't head to zero, it's bound to go to $1 million. Now, at the time of this interview, Bitcoin was trading at around 109K, but Saylor says the dynamics of daily supply versus daily demand are now comically in Bitcoin's favor. As right now, miners are producing about 450 Bitcoin per day. That's about $50 million worth of BTC entering the market every single day. And as Saylor puts it, if that 50 million is bought, then the price has got to move up. Which, yeah, okay. Supply is fixed, demand is rising. Welcome to Econ 101 Satoshi Edition. And who's buying this daily supply, you ask? According to Saylor, literally everyone who matters. I mean, we're talking public companies. BlackRock's ETF, countries like Pakistan, which is now racing to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve of its own. And yeah, Pakistan might in fact front-run the US in Bitcoin adoption. And this, my friends, is not a drill, that's geopolitics in 2025. Even President Donald Trump, his new SEC chair Paul Atkins, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent are publicly backing Bitcoin, all while banks prep custody offerings and ETFs keep vacuuming up supply. Saylor summed it up like this, saying, at the current price level, it only takes $50 million to turn the entire drive shaft of the crypto economy one full turn. Or in other words, it doesn't take much to make this puppy rip. Now, even Saylor acknowledges that if Bitcoin hits 500K or even $1 million, there's a good chance it could drop to 200K afterward. But at that point, who's really crying about a 40% correction, right? You're still up astronomically, and your distrust in central banks hoodie finally makes you look like a financial genius instead of a doomsday Reddit lurker. The point is this. Saylor's not hedging, he's not selling, and he's not worried about another crypto winter. Because in his eyes, the climate's already changed. The thaw is permanent. And this isn't another cycle. It's the beginning of Bitcoin as a reserve asset, with ETFs, countries, and corporations stacking Satoshis like it's oil. So if you're waiting for Bitcoin to go to 20K again, might be time to stop praying for snow. And in other Michael Saylor news, he's back on X with another helpful reminder for corporate America. Stop lighting your money on fire with share buybacks and start buying Bitcoin. Now, on June 10th, he responded to a Jim Cramer post about Apple's underwhelming stock buyback program with a forward mic drop, saying Apple should buy Bitcoin. No surprise there. Now, Jim Cramer's post said the Apple buyback is not working right now. The company can leave it to earn a lot, or it can take some and integrate it. It's not a badge of dishonor. It just isn't. Or in other words, Apple spent $110 billion trying to please shareholders and forgot to buy the only asset that actually goes up. Since the start of the year, Apple's stock price is down over 17%, Bitcoin up more than 17% over the same period of time. And if you zoom out 5 years, it gets even uglier. Apple shares are up 137%, Bitcoin up a casual 1,000%, over 1,000 even. So yeah, Saylor might have a bit of a point here, especially considering everyone else seems to be doing it, right? I mean, GameStop announced it in late May that it had acquired nearly 4,700 Bitcoin after raising $1.3 billion via convertible notes. Over in Japan, Metaplanet became the 8th largest corporate Bitcoin holder, and its stock jumped over 12% after announcing plans to raise $5.5 billion to buy even more. In France, the blockchain group just bought $68 million worth of BTC and is now raising another $340 million to expand its holdings even further. And if all of this wasn't bullish enough, spot Bitcoin ETFs bounced back from a 2-day sell-off with $386 million in net inflows on June 9th alone. But sure, Tim Cook, keep buying back your own stock. What could possibly go wrong there? And if you've been wondering who else is buying this Bitcoin pump aside from countries and corporations, well, surprise, it's us, it's me. As according to CryptoQuant, U.S. investors are stacking sats again, and big time. The The Coinbase Premium Index, which tracks U.S. buyer appetite, is now at its highest level in over 3 months. And that's a big deal, friends, because unlike meme tokens, when real investors show up in real size, it usually means the real bull run is just getting started. Analyst Dan over at CryptoQuant, props to Dan for the strong name, says the market has been trending up for 8 weeks and the U.S. is officially helping push it higher. More importantly, there's no signs of any potential overheating. And in case you've forgotten what that looks like, it's when leverage degens turn every candle into a cult and your Uber driver starts giving you technical analysis advice. So far, we're not there yet, which is good. Meanwhile, Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S. saw $386 million in inflows just on Monday alone after 2 days of consecutive outflows. That kind of swing means that buyers are regaining control. And they're not alone either. The 90-day cumulative volume delta, or also known as the CVD, turned green for the first time in 4 months. Now you might be asking, Hank, I have no idea what that means. Well, what it means is that buyers are finally dominating sellers again. Oh, and about the whales? Well, yeah, they're scooping up BTC too. A specific cohort of new whales, meaning wallets holding over 1,000 Bitcoin with an average coin age of less than 6 months, doubled their holdings from March 1st to June 4th. So from 500,000 BTC to 1.1 million BTC, That's a 600,000 Bitcoin jump, or in fiat terms, roughly $63 billion. That's also 10 months worth of mining output just gone, removed from circulation, stacked for good. And some people, well, they run Bitcoin miners. Other people, they run for public office. And then there's American Bitcoin, which is doing both, apparently. Backed by Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and maybe Kid Rock, I don't know. The company has quietly accumulated 250 BTC since launching back on April 1st. That's over $23 million worth of Bitcoin and 0 press releases. Now, the company, also known as ABTC, disclosed the stash in a June 6th SEC filing, and they didn't just stumble into this Bitcoin, they meant it. Now, Bitcoin accumulation is not a side effect of ABTC's business, the filing reads. It is the business. Their entire strategy is to turn mining into long-term Bitcoin ownership, and it doesn't exactly stop there. They're planning to go public via a merger with Griffin Digital Mining, announced back on May 12th. And the resulting company will keep the American Bitcoin name. And Eric Trump, he'll join the board. So yeah, a sitting president's son is now a Bitcoin board member, and the company already owns over 60,000 miners spread across facilities in New York, Alberta, and Texas, managed by Hut 8. Now, these miners deliver 10.17 exahashes per second with sub 1% pool fees. And ABTC's miners are hosted by Foundry and Luxor. All of this is part of a 3-pronged strategy. Mine cheap, hoard Bitcoin, and then become a major player in the ecosystem. Their BTC is held in cold storage with Coinbase custody, locked down with an MFA and whitelisted withdrawal protocols. So the bottom line here, they're not messing around. And yes, the name is still very real, American Bitcoin, because subtlety is officially dead.
Our colleagues on the Ag Committee passed the Clarity Act 47-6 in an overwhelming bipartisan manner.
All right, well, the U.S. House Agriculture Committee recently passed a crypto bill, and for once, it might not be terrible. In a 47-6 vote, they approved the Clarity Act, designed to give digital assets a proper regulatory framework right here in the good old U.S. of A. The bill will now move to the House floor for consideration. Chairman G.T. Thompson said opposing views can still be submitted by Friday, but the momentum is clearly there. Now, the Clarity Act aims to answer a big, ugly question. Is your crypto project under the SEC or the CFTC? Because depending on who you ask, the answer is usually yes. Now, the bill wants to fix all that, and it's not the only one. Over in the Senate, they're preparing to vote on the Genius Act, which would regulate the payment of stablecoins. Back in the House, the Financial Services Committee is also debating an amendment that would add protections for blockchain developers to the Clarity Act. So, yes, Congress is actually doing something for once, maybe even something helpful, which historically is rarer than a legitimate altcoin. And quantum computing is the financial horror movie that no one wants to watch, but everyone knows is coming. These things can theoretically crack Bitcoin's encryption, which means someday your cold wallet could be one good qubit away from being a warm mess. Now, don't panic. Today's quantum computers are still pretty dumb. They're expensive science fair projects that occasionally factor numbers slightly faster than a TI-84. But the future versions, well, those could shred the cryptography that keeps Bitcoin secure. And they might get here faster than expected. One Google quantum AI paper suggests it would take 20 times less effort to break Bitcoin than previously thought, which is great. Nothing like realizing that the thing that secures your trillion-dollar asset class is held together by 2010 math. Upgrading Bitcoin's core protocols to post-quantum cryptography is possible. It would just require, and I quote, 76 days of downtime or a 10-month partial slowdown. So yeah, minor inconvenience. Rick Maida says the biggest risk is waiting too long. And guess what? That's exactly what everyone is doing, because there's no money in preventing hypothetical disasters just yet. But the Bitcoin dev community knows that this isn't optional, and they're already planning for a future where Satoshi meets Schrodinger. No, post-quantum security isn't a luxury, it's survival. And the faster Bitcoin evolves, the more untouchable it becomes. So, yeah, quantum computers are scary, but Bitcoin's immune system is already mutating. And when push comes to shove, I'll take open source code and a global army of cryptographers over whatever, government-backed monstrosity thinks it's going to crack the SHA-256 from a lab in Mountain View. So we can cool our jets on that whole thing for now. All right, welcome back. It's time for some blockchain without borders. If you've been wondering what global financial disaster might send Bitcoin to the moon next, surprise! It might be Japan. According to Arthur Hayes, the Bank of Japan's June 16th to 17th meeting could be the next big rocket fuel for risk assets. And we're talking stocks, crypto, and whatever meme coin your cousin refused to shut up about this time. The reason? Quantitative easing. That's right, the good old QE hose might be coming back on. Hayes, he wrote on X, if the Bank of Japan delays quantitative easing and restarts selected QE at its June meeting, risk assets are gonna fly. Or in other words, more money printing, fewer bond purchases, and more opium. And in case you forgot, QE is when central banks buy bonds and dump liquidity into the economy to lower rates and stimulate growth. It's like Red Bull, but for the markets. But it doesn't come with wings and just inflation and huge Bitcoin pumps. It's my favorite kind. Now, back in July of 2024, the BOJ said they'd start tightening, reducing bond purchases by 400 billion yen per quarter starting in August. Now, they're already thinking about walking it all back. According to Bloomberg, insiders say that the BOJ is considering cutting that amount in half to 200 billion yen per quarter starting in April of 2027. Just in case Japan's bond market catches fire or something. Because, spoiler alert, it already kind of did. You see, on June 20th, the 30-year Japanese government bond yield hit an all-time high of 3.185%. 2 days later, Bitcoin hit nearly 112K. And that, my friends, is not a coincidence. Institutions are finally realizing that maybe, just maybe, government bonds aren't the safe haven that they were cracked up to be. And Bitcoin, no counterparty risk, no central banker with a print button, just 21 million locked, loaded, and looking real attractive when Japan flirts with default territory. As Bitwise's Andre Dragos put it, perceived default risk continues rising. Yields continue rising? This is a high benchmark of why Bitcoin could be headed toward $200,000. So to recap here, the Bank of Japan pivots back to quantitative easing, Bitcoin rallies, because while fiat systems try to duct tape their sovereign debt crisis, Bitcoin just keeps doing Bitcoin things. Tick-tock, hard cap. Love it. Next up, in what sounds like a rejected Ozark spinoff, Australian police just took down a $123 million crypto laundering operation run out of a security company. Yeah, a company whose literal job it is to protect cash was allegedly laundering it. Well, now the buzz came after an 18-month investigation by the Queensland Joint Organized Crime Task Force, which involved 70 officers, multiple states, and more alphabet soup than a government lunchroom. The operation allegedly used armored vehicle units to move dirty money, because when you're committing massive financial crimes, the only thing better than subtlety is rolling up in a tank. Now from there, the cash was passed through a sales promotion company, a classic car dealership, and of course, your friendly neighborhood crypto exchanges. Because nothing screams legitimate business quite like cashing out your Lambo coins through an actual Lambo dealer. Now authorities seized 17 properties, vehicles, and froze $13.6 million in suspicious assets. And if you're wondering how they found out about this whole mess, it all started with one guy who allegedly laundered $9.5 million over 15 months, which, to be honest, is some serious don't ask questions kind of energy. Now let's address the elephant on the blockchain here, shall we? Yes, crypto can be used for money laundering, but so can duffel bags and shell companies and the Vatican Bank. The difference here is that blockchain, it leaves a trail. And that's exactly what led law enforcement to the front door of this security company turned high-yield washing machine. Even Chainalysis, the forensics firm that reads blockchains like tea leaves, says over $100 billion has flowed from illicit wallets to conversion services since 2019. In 2022 alone, $30 billion passed through sanctioned services, and yet, here we are. Crypto remains both the problem and the solution. Because while criminals use mixers and DeFi to hide their tracks, blockchain's transparency still makes it the easiest crime scene to investigate. Try tracing dirty fiat through 5 Caribbean shell companies. Now try tracking a Bitcoin transaction on-chain. One takes years, the other a laptop and a bottle of caffeine pills. Oh, and before we get a little too comfy here, crypto crime isn't staying digital. Physical violence is becoming a real concern as well. As if you remember a few weeks ago in Paris, a guy tried to kidnap the CEO of Paymium's daughter over a crypto stash. And in France, Ledger's co-founder was held hostage in January. And a streamer in Amaranth? That sounds made up. But a streamer there was held at gunpoint over her Bitcoin. Even the so-called Bitcoin family is now spreading their seed phrase across 4 continents. That was a weird phrase to say out loud. Repeat it to yourself, you'll get it. And encrypting it like it's a nuclear football. So what's the takeaway here, gang? It's that crypto's not some magical cloak of anonymity. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can build a cathedral or bury a body. But thanks to public ledgers and actual transparency, it's also the only financial system where you eventually get caught, even if you're hiding behind a bulletproof van and a company polo shirt. So, welcome to the new world, my friends. Launder smarter, or, don't launder at all. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be back with a quick, fun video as part of AIAIO, where I hit the streets of San Francisco to ask some very important questions. Stay tuned for that.
All right, guys, we're here at Bubblegum Shrimp Company. We're asking the question, AI is here all around us. It's making our decisions for us, it's writing our emails, and it might even be stealing our jobs. So we asked people in San Francisco, is AI the beginning of the next new era, or is it the end of humanity as we know it? Let's find out. All right, so I'm here with my new best friend,
Alex.
We're here with my new friend,
Quillen.
Rushali. Okay, so Rushali, I'm sure you've heard about AI and what it's doing. Do you think AI is ushering us into like the next new great era of humanity, or is it just kind of the beginning of the end for all of us?
I wouldn't say it's the beginning of the end. It is going to a new place, but I do think that it's somewhat causing hindrance than being better for us.
I'd say AI is here to stay, but for the end of humanity, I mean, I think no. Like, I don't think we're quite there yet.
No Skynet anytime soon. We're okay.
Skynet, no.
I think it's the future because it'll let humans do like a lot more stuff.
All right, friend. So is AI the future of humanity, or is it the end of civilization as we know it? It scares me too, bro. Whew. Let me ask you this. So with all these new advancements in AI, do you think in the future you would let like an AI surgeon operate on you as opposed to like a real doctor? Or is that human quality, if it's something we're always going to need and people are never going to be fully comfortable with like AI doing that kind of heavy lifting?
I think there will be a point where those systems are safe enough that people will be comfortable with having an AI surgeon. And even like Waymos, I think, are statistically safer than like Ubers or Lyfts. So I think like, possibly, but right now, no.
Are you concerned about Waymos taking your job, sir?
I would prefer an AI thing if it's tested well enough. If it's not tested well enough, if I don't see like a bunch of results that's being positive towards it, I don't think I would want an AI. I'd prefer a human.
Human,
Why is that?
because AI isn't good enough right now.
Do you think eventually it'll be good enough?
Yeah.
So you'd let an AI robot operate and remove your spleen
Yeah.
if you needed to? Okay, I like that. So Mr. Seal, are you worried about AI taking your job? Sure. Last question for you. I know politics in this country are a hot topic. Do you think there's ever will be a time where we might elect like an AI president because they'll have all of the information collectively from humanity? Might that actually be like a better way to go in the future, or is that just like getting too dystopian and you're not comfortable with that?
No, I don't think the government will allow it.
I don't think that's gonna happen. And if it did, I wouldn't vote for it.
Why wouldn't you vote for it? I don't know. Do you think the current presidents are doing a good enough job? Is that why?
No, but I just think that I don't trust AI enough to be like a leader.
You think it'll just take over the world and we'll all be enslaved like Skynet or something?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he's probably right.
No.
No, why not?
No. Well, one, that I feel like there's too many complexities in running a country. I know people say that it's more political, but it also has to have some kind of human part of it. I see that you can ask an AI to make a decision, but I think you need human input to validate the decision that is made by the AI.
I think that's a good point. And also they might end up just taking over our country, right, and our world. And what do you think about like a robot or an AI surgeon? Would you let that work on you, or are you only trusting humans?
Judgment Day will be here soon. Prepare the Waymos to destroy. Ha ha ha.
You make a good point. Tell me what you think about AI. What do you think about it? Hey! Hey!
All right, it's time to get socially awkward as TikTok's time in the US was supposed to be up again, but once more in a twist absolutely no one saw coming unless they've been conscious in 2025. Trump said he's going to give it another extension. That's 3 lives down, 6 to go. So let's recap here. Congress passed a bill that said TikTok had to sell to U.S. company or get banned. It passed the Senate 79-18. Biden signed it, and TikTok had 9 months to make a deal. And they didn't. Instead, they took the Supreme Court route, lost that appeal, and technically got banned back on January 19th. Then Donald Trump got sworn in the next day and went full Uno reverse card. He signed an executive order granting TikTok a 75-day delay so he could personally assist in brokering a sale. Spoiler alert, no sale happened. So he extended it again. And that second 75-day run, well, it ends next Wednesday, June 18th. And now Trump says he's signing another extension because when the law says ban it, Trump says, maybe next quarter. Now, legally, this whole thing is getting a little murky because technically the president isn't allowed to override the law directly. But Trump's workaround is actually quite simple. He's not blocking the law, he's just putting it on hold again and again and again. Kind of like your buddy who swears he's going to break up with his toxic ex next week. So TikTok is essentially operating illegally in the US, but it's cool because the president, he's totally a fan. In fact, Trump literally said he became a big star on TikTok during his last campaign. I think we got a quick video to show for that. We don't have the video. Okay, check it out next time. Either way, millions of followers, viral clips, youth engagement, all the dopamine hits a politician could ever want. No wonder he likes this thing so much, which is probably why he's more than willing to protect this app and enforce, or not enforce the actual law. The bill, by the way, had nothing to do with cloud of any kind. It was about national security concerns, mind you. I mean, we're talking Chinese data access, propaganda threats, that whole thing, except there's still no public evidence that TikTok actually did anything wrong in the first place. But the concerns remain, and so does TikTok. I mean, operating in the US, not by law, but by executive whim, if you will. Now, if Trump signs another 75-day extension, TikTok's next drop-dead date is September 1st, which gives influencers another summer to film hot takes, dance videos, and low-effort crypto shills. Meanwhile, the real TikTok drama isn't on a For You page, it's in Washington, because this app now exists in a legal gray zone so foggy that it makes Ethereum look relatively transparent. All right, welcome to the end of the show for a little thing we like to call bullish, bearish, or BS. This is where we rate the top 5 stories of the day based on how likely they are to send Bitcoin flying or flatlining. Let's get started first. The US and China say they've reached a trade agreement, kind of. The details are foggy, but Trump says relations are excellent. Everyone says so. And CPI inflation data came in soft at 2.4%. Bitcoin jumped nearly a K on the move. My diagnosis, I'm bullish on this. Better trade vibes and cooling inflation reduce macro risk, giving Bitcoin room to breathe. I mean, less war equals more sats, and macro peace equals Bitcoin gets to stretch its legs a little bit. I'm bullish on that one. Next, we have in a Bloomberg interview, Michael Saylor says Bitcoin isn't just rising, it's inevitable. Miners produce $50 million worth a day, and demand's outpacing that supply, and winter is definitely not coming. My diagnosis, bullish on this. I mean, when the biggest Bitcoin bull alive doubles down, it adds rocket fuel to the narrative and reminds institutions everywhere that this isn't just a trade, it's a monetary regime change. So Saylor shouting from the throne, and number, it go uppy, too bullish to start. Whew, we're moving hot. Next up, we have CryptoQuant reports a surge in U.S. buyer demand. ETF inflows hit 386 mil in a single day, and young whales have stacked over 600,000 BTC in just 3 months. Very bullish on this. I mean, this is real capital, real conviction, and no signs of froth, just heavy hitters stacking quietly, and that's exactly what a sustained bull run looks like. America's back, baby, and they brought their wallets. Bullish on that too. Woo! 3 bullish to start. We're getting in hot. Next up, we have American Bitcoin, which is the company backed by Eric Trump and Don Jr., are mining and they're stacking sats. They've already acquired over 200 BTC and plan to go public via merger. Another bullish, gang. I mean, say what you want about the family. This is mainstream political capital openly backing long-term Bitcoin accumulation. This is narrative juice meets hash rate power, and when the Trumps are stacking, it ain't a meme anymore, my friends. I am bullish on that too. 4 bullish. Can we go for the first ever clean sweep today? Let's find out. So the Clarity Act passed 47-6 in the House Agriculture Committee, aiming to establish real digital asset regulation. Other bills, they're brewing too, including stablecoin frameworks and dev protections. I'm bullish on this for the clean sweep today. I mean, we're talking actual bipartisan momentum for crypto clarity. That's rarer than an altcoin with utility. I mean, this helps institutional buyers feel warm and safe on the inside. Oh, it feels so nice. And it opens the door for some real world innovation. Congress actually did something helpful. Mark it down, because today is the day to celebrate, because our final score, 5 bullish, 0 bearish, 0 BS. That is a full-on, red-blooded, fire-breathing bull day, my friends. And as always, thanks for tuning in to the Blockchain Report here on RoxomTV. Make sure to follow us at RoxomTV on all platforms, and me at Hank at RoxomTV, wherever you can find the interwebs. We will be back tomorrow with more crypto chaos and blockchain mayhem, so make sure to stay tuned. And until then, stay safe, stay informed, and always, hodl on, mi amigos. See you Thursday.